Today is Saturday, December 11th, 2021, almost at the end of the year. This is a Circle City News, and I am attorney Mark Nicholson here with Madison, Ali, and the owner and creator of LeJuice Creations, James Hales. We're going to start off today with a little bit of some national news instead of really the local news, and it's a story about the tornado that came through the Midwest. We live in what's considered a tornado alley, and there were tornadoes that did a lot of devastation in Kentucky, where they think that maybe up to 100 people or more were killed. So we have those in our thoughts and prayers, and sending out positive energy to the people there. Locally, the weather here today has been windy. That's about it. Just a bunch of wind. The power has went out in some areas of Indianapolis, but otherwise than that, I think we're good. How about in Florida?
Super windy here as well, honestly. It rained all through the night. Not crazy out of the ordinary, but it's definitely interesting to see that the weather patterns that strike the Midwest and other areas of the US do hit, like the fringes of it do affect us in the South. So just be safe out there. And I also had a note about the severe weather warning in Indiana. And if they do the tornado warnings again, just make sure you go to the lowest level of your house or near any sort of plumbing, so you can be prepared if something drastic happens. And yes, throwing blessings out to Kentucky for lives lost due to the severe weather that happened over the weekend.
Awesome. Why don't were you getting ready to say something, Ali?
No, I was just gonna say that I'm pretty sure last night it was storming too in Indianapolis.
Yeah.
So yeah, the weather has been iffy, but it's fine.
Is it super cold up there where you guys are at, anybody?
It's 39 degrees currently.
Dang.
So it's been like fluctuating, but yeah.
So I do want to kind of give a little teaser after our interview with James. We're going to talk a little bit about the Jussie Smollett trial. So I have a few words to say about that. But Madison, without any further ado, go ahead and talk to James so he can tell us about his business and his life story.
Yeah, absolutely. Hi, James. Thanks for coming on the show today. We really appreciate it.
Yep. Thanks for having me, guys. It's as soon as his office called me, I was really trying to get ready for it. So it's all good.
Awesome. So I don't know much about your background. Would you care to tell us about what your background is and what sort of led you to create the LeJuice brand? Yeah, let's start there.
Well, the LeJuice brand was created mentally back in 2012. 2012 up here in Indianapolis was the predominant food truck scene for an extended period of time. And then the economy got real bad, and a couple of the food trucks died off. The truck that I was the chef for, we did not die off. We kept going, and we ultimately were doing entrepreneur classes for Ball State. Ball State would bring a class down to our truck, and I would literally be doing my LeJuice Creations concept just for this college course, for these, like, cool. Teaching a class, teaching people who weren't trying to cook, but were trying to learn the food business and the food industry. That's why they were there. So the scratch truck with Mac ownership was with Matt Kornmeyer there in Indianapolis. My health got bad, so I had to get off the food truck for a while, and health is part of my story too. So but that's where it started. That's where the creativity started. That's where some of the menu branding started. That's where some of the recipe branding started, and learning the business with not necessarily me being able to start it up by myself, but being a part of a team where investors came in and everybody talked and worked out contracts and stuff. So but yeah, that's when it started, was 2012.
So you started
Started back-
planting the seeds in 2012. That's interesting. So what was the direction that led quickly thereafter? So you said that you had a sort of decline with your health and you were getting
Yeah.
that sorted out.
Yeah. I had a lot going on with my health. I was having seizures at a young age, just
Oh my
blackouts.
God.
And I was also, well, I wasn't doing anything about it. I was doing the exact opposite. I was drinking, drinking and driving, a lot of in and out of jails and prisons. And I kind of just, back in 2015, it's the last time I was arrested in the state of Indiana. And that's when I said, okay, I'm going to focus on my health. I'm going to stay out of jail, and I'm going to stay sober. So
Yeah.
boom, here we are. Fast forward to 2021. I had 4 heart surgeries last year in 2022, and that's when
Jeez.
I activated my LeJuice concept. That's when I said, okay, James, if you're going to do something, now's the time to do it. So yeah, so I ended up just practicing something simple. Not the food laws in the state of Indiana, they're not different from state to state, but the food laws here in Indiana, if you're not on a qualified, certified level of a chef, as I am, and have the experience, it's extremely difficult to start your own business unless you're coming up with a concept. So I came down here to Shelbyville, where I'm not from. I'm from Indianapolis, Carmel, and Noblesville, majority of my life. And I came down here and went through the heart stuff and started making juice. The freshest way I knew how to do it, and that was with raw fruit, water, and honey. That's my ingredients in my LeJuice creations. And any fruit you can think of, any fruit you can think of, I've got over 54, 55 flavors of fresh fruit, herb mixes, combos that I do. But last year during the surgeries, I had to file for that whole disability stuff because I got a heart monitor inside my body now, which prevents me from being a chef in a kitchen working 12-hour days that I was used to be able to do. It just took my career and threatened my career with my heart health. So I just had to, snap out of it. I died twice last year, snapped out of it. I was brought back to make some bigger moves for myself and to make other people smile and know what they're putting in their body, because fresh is going to be the way of life, guys. Fresh is going to be the way of life within 5 years. I promise. There's going to be a lot of differences in the economy when it comes to prices of fresh produce at the store. Restaurants are going to push towards more fresh recipes and not stuff that you're being told's fresh and it's in a bag. You know what I mean? So it's just a lot of freshness. How I did it was kind of cool, crazy at the same time. I had got in contact with the health department on a bad note last year. There's a lot of people in Shelbyville. I'm not trying to badmouth the community that I'm serving to, but I can just tell you from experience. Last year, I was doing gallons, not these little bottles. These little bottles with the seal pop lids. It was quite different last year. They were milk gallons. They were milk jug size gallons.
Oh, cool.
And the health department and I talked, and I came up with the 16-ounce with the resealable lid that you guys pop off as the customer. And I have a label. Business was good this last week, so I do apologize that I don't have any labeled bottles for you to see. But I don't know if you guys down in Florida have Greek's pizzerias, but I know we got them up in Indianapolis, and I know we've got one here in Shelbyville. We've got them all over the state of Indiana. Well, I've been selling my commissary. This is again with the food knowledge, the food code laws, because I don't have an actual kitchen restaurant building, brick and mortar building restaurant. I'm using Greek's Pizzeria here in Shelbyville as my commissary kitchen.
Cool.
I make my juice there. I store it there. I'm allowed to store as much as my little freezer will fit, about 400 bottles, so I can store it home. as long as I have a commissary kitchen that I'm making anything, not necessarily just juice, but because of the commissary action that this franchise business in Indiana has allowed me to do, I'm able to open up my private catering aspect of LeJuice Creations Inc., which is private chef, come to you, come to your home, prepare a meal for you and your loved ones. You pay me in advance. I shop for your recipe off of the dollar amount that I charge you. Like, let's say I charge you a meatloaf. I would charge you, I don't know, I think it was like $55 or $65 that I would charge you for all your ingredients, all your recipe requirements would come out of that prepay. The rest of that prepay is mine. So ultimately, I'm cooking for people in their homes, selling juice out of Greeks. I've also been able to team up with Three Buds. It's another Indiana small business, not a franchise, but a small business in Indiana. I've been able to team up with them on a drink that I think they're really loving the mango and the pineapple. But I make a drink for a CBD company, a company that promotes CBD products. Now they've teamed up, LeJuice has teamed up with Delta 8 THC, and we're working with these guys on a drink with a packet that's called it's called floral. It's a CBD floral CBD oil mix, but it's Delta 8 THC. So it's that another Indiana small company or national company. I don't know how big it is, but I know I'm all over it and they're all over my stuff. So also the smaller businesses in this town, like all the bars, it's crazy. I got bars that have me make juice for them for mixed drinks on a Friday night down here in Shelbyville. We got Cagney's, we got Capone's, which is a tourist attraction type bar down here in Shelbyville, Indiana. So a lot of these bars and restaurants have been buying from me, not as consistent as Greeks and not as consistent as Three Buds, but literally doctors' offices, therapeutic offices, like 12 to 13 businesses in Shelbyville alone are buying from me on some kind of consistency. And
Yeah,
that's
consistent base, right?
and that's all I can really ask for at this point. You know, I got my landlord, Rick Richardson. He asked me if I'd be interested in speaking at the Shelbyville Rotary Club, hanging out with some old rich guys. Oh, you're damn right I will. I think that'd be fun. No, because LeJuice Creations, like my whole life, I've been going through this whole, man, how do I reform myself? How do I focus on me and focus on what I know how to do? I taught at Ivy Tech. I helped teach, well, not kids, but college students and high school students how to cook properly, how to maintain recipes, recipe knowledge. I've been a part of several management teams up in Indianapolis with restaurants that are still open today. The Tap on Mass Ave. I was their head chef for the first year they were open. Moe's Steakhouse, 5-star, best steakhouse in the state of Indiana. I was one of their line chef broiler runners where I was cooking the steaks for at least nine years, working with Kerry Snow Jr. Also working with, what was it? The Center Plate that their facility is out of ICC, which is the Indianapolis Convention Center. So I was making, preparing meals for the governor, the mayor, when presidents would come into town, fancy meals, 100%. I was part of that crew. So yeah, that's pretty much how LeJuice Creations got started. Where it's at now, I go through probably 320 bottles a week of these bottles with labels and lids. I've been able to establish a lot of different relationships with people in this town on a business level. Like when I first moved down here to a new town, it's like I stuck out like a sore thumb, and I still do, and I hear about it a lot, which is kind of cool. But no, I stick out like a sore thumb because I don't know. I don't really know. I just know that what I'm trying to do is when I do have my disability hearing, I am going to be able to sit back and tell the judge that I can't, there's no way around it. I can't do what I used to be able to do. And that's, I can't work out. Like my body got hit real hard from 4 heart surgeries. I went from 260 pounds to 217 pounds within 40 some days.
Oh, geez.
That's a huge amount of weight to lose in a short period of time. But I was also had just had 3 heart surgeries, and I had my 4th November 3rd of last year. So this whole year has been kind of like recoup, see what's happening with your body, keep
Yeah.
putting freshness in, keep promoting freshness. And that's what I do on every bottle. I mean, I don't want to say
Sure.
this. I've got an EIN number. I don't have a TIN number. I don't really need one for for what I'm doing. I do a lot of volunteer stuff here in the community. I do a lot of like my first volunteer deal was, and I'm not trying to toot my own horn, but this is where LeJuice, this is what LeJuice does. We create, we give back, we create, we give back. I'm not trying to start a business with this yet. If the disability people tell me, hey, James, it's time to rock and roll. We think you can work for the next 10 years until you have to have another heart surgery to have your battery taken out. All right, bet. Then I'll buy a food truck. What I've been able to do, what I've been able to do at my bank is establish some credit, which, hallelujah, it's hard when you're asking when you. I don't have any prominent investors. I have people that are. I made the investment this year when I got my tax. You know how everybody got that tax check and that stimulus money. Well, I gave half of it to my fiance because she kept me alive the whole time I was down during my surgeries, and then I took another 3,400 and I invested it and I poured it into my LeJuice concept. So literally, it makes money, or it's making making the money back. You know what I mean?
Right,
So
right.
it's not like I'm a full blown 24-hour a day business, but people call me on Facebook. I can't afford a .com yet. So right now I've got almost 1,400 followers on Facebook and almost 1,400 likes on Facebook for the LeJuice Creations page alone. And then on top of that, on my chef page, I'm creeping on 800 likes and 800 followers on top of the 5,000 friends that I've gone out and reached out to on Facebook. So if you look at some restaurants in your state of Florida or up in Indianapolis or out there in Oregon, guys, if you look at some of your restaurant likes and follows, even the local spots in your community, they're going to have very few. I have competing numbers. I have a competitive menu. I have a consistent product like Coke, like Snapple. This is how Coke and Snapple started. So LeJuice is coming up with this branding concept, and it's working out pretty good. I do have a lot of people that I do talk to a lot of people, like 100% business owners on a daily basis, like in some fashion, whether it be email, phone call, text message, Facebook message. I do have a lot of places that are like, I mean, competitors with Greeks, like Cagney's. That's a pizza spot with Heather Sparks, and she has her own small business like I have mine, but she makes she's a mobile bar for weddings and stuff.
Okay.
And she buys my juice for these weddings. Like she'll buy gallons at a time. Like I've got the Boys and Girls Club down here in Shelbyville just bought 15 gallons yesterday for an event I'm doing for them on the 22nd. So
That's awesome.
so yeah, so LeJuice is real busy, but I can only be as humble as I can possibly be. And I've got so many blessings going on now that I've turned over several new leaves in my life, and kind of like, you know, I go to AA meetings on a consistent basis, in some fashion, again, because with my heart health, I don't put myself around a lot of people because of COVID and people getting sick, and I don't want to get sick after going through what I went through. So what I've been doing is actually kind of worked out. I haven't gotten COVID at all since it started last year. And so yeah.
I just want to say, James, we're really proud of you. This is amazing. You've made excellent steps in your life, which is inspirational for everybody. And the fact that you were a chef just shows that how important diet is, and reteaching someone who is even comfortable with food, healthy food and healthy options is inspirational for everybody. It's
and in undergoing that process throughout the health complications, that's super admirable. So
yeah, it's definitely difficult. Definitely 100% difficult to do. It was putting myself in the self-help programs that are all over the city of Indianapolis. I can talk about all of them at a later date, but I'm saying if people put into their life what they want to get out of life, they will be successful. I mean, I'd rather be the head of a mouse than the tail of a lion. At least I know where I'm going. I can pivot and go any which way I want, and that's it. It's just being successful. And during COVID, it's really hard to want to just sit back and do nothing. Because
James, if someone wants to reach out to you to buy your drinks, how can they contact you? Your information?
They can contact me on Facebook. For right now, Facebook, I give out the address of Greeks. Greeks sells my product there as well. My phone number and Facebook. That's what I'm doing for right now.
And we'll definitely put those on blast on this platform also. So
Excellent.
be prepared for that.
So much.
Yeah, you're very welcome. And we wish you the best, James,
Thanks,
with
guys.
your business. And
I actually just want to say one more thing.
Yeah.
I personally really appreciate you being a sort of headliner for healing. I know it's a hard year. It was a really sort of a shock to Americans to prioritize your health. And you being a progressive in doing natural based and fruit based healing and everything is really inspirational for me. And I just want to say thank you for the work that you're doing and will be continuing to do. It's awesome.
Awesome. Well, yes, sir. Yeah. Well, I will be trying to get some stuff set up where I can mail you in Florida a couple bottles, and I can maybe kind of have everybody get their packages at the same time and follow the recipe inside the box, because it'll ask you to refreeze it and try it. That's how you send stuff when you're moving it small like me. You move it in boxes with dry ice.
All right. Well, yep. Just reach out to my office, and we'll go ahead and give you the information if you want to send some samples. We really appreciate it.
Awesome. Thank you, guys.
Take care, James. Happy holiday and Merry Christmas to you.
You too. See you guys.
All right. Bye-bye.
I also want to say happy 11/11. Making wishes, sending prayers and blessings.
yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, he was great. It was really fascinating to hear his story. What do you think?
His roller coaster, you know?
Yeah, that was very moving, honestly. If I'm taking anything away from this, it's just motivation in general. Like, if he can do it, anybody can, honestly.
That's true.
I think also the natural ingredients that he uses. I didn't hear him mention anything other than like raw fruits and honey. Just that process, I think it's so, and I think that that's the direction that like with like juiceries and smoothie places, that's like what they're aiming towards. So it's really good. He's taking a really good step in the right direction.
Yeah. Oh, I forgot to mention to him. I love that in Indiana. I feel like every single time I hear something of y'all's service industry or food industry, it's always like small businesses supporting small businesses.
Yeah.
And that's not an incredible norm for where I'm from. So that's really cool that Indiana has like a sort of like Indiana culture that you guys promote one another and reach out to the small businesses in your area to like make it like a fabric of the community. That's something really cool that I've noticed just doing these podcasts. So
awesome. Yeah. Now I want to switch topics about this Jussie Smollett trial.
Yeah, you're gonna have to tell me a little more about that. Who's this guy and where's he coming from?
Okay, here? So obviously, Madison, you've been buried under a rock, because he was one of the actors on the Fox TV show called Empire.
Empire. Okay, right. Okay.
And then he had claimed that he was racially attacked by people that were like Trump supporters. And they put like a noose on him or whatever and put MAGA, MAGA and all that kind of stuff.
Jesus Christ.
Come to find out, that he supposedly paid a couple people to do that to him so he could kind of get this little voice out or discredit Trump or whatever. They end up snitching on him and saying, hey, no, we were paid, like $3,500 to do this. He denied it. At first, the city of Chicago went ahead and they filed charges, but then they dismissed him if he paid some money or whatever. But then special prosecutor got on the case and wanted to examine how the charges were filed and how they were dismissed and things like that. And then ultimately they refiled charges. They had a jury trial. Verdict came out, I think, Thursday, and he was convicted like on 6 counts of basically like lying to the police and things like that, and felony counts, you know. So I was just fascinated because to me, somebody, even though Madison didn't know him, Allie, did you know who okay, even though you two don't know him, you know, but Black people know, you know, so we're in tune. So he had a voice that he could have spoke out and said, look, here's a story I found on the internet about this gay person, this lesbian that was abused or homeless or whatever. I'm going to champion their cause. I'm going to donate money, or I want to speak out against the abuse of gay people, of lesbians, of transgender, right? Okay. He could have used his platform to say that, but instead, if it's true, you know, that he did make this up, he did more to hurt his cause, right? Because people now, if I get in and say, oh man, you know, racism, this, oh, wait a minute now, you know, that one guy lied about this, so I don't believe, you know, that this is really racism and this is this and that. So it's almost like how a woman, if she cries that false rape, that saying she's raped and it's a lie, it hurts people that are really victims of rape, because then it's like, well, you remember that one woman, you know, she said she was raped and kind of find out she lied and all, and then it's just painful for people to use victimhood as a way to advance an agenda when there's plenty of victims out there. Like, you don't have to claim yourself to be a victim when you can just Google on the internet and you can find somebody that's actually a victim and try to champion their cause or whatever.
Right.
So
right.
That's all I had to say about that. But
that's strange. Like, I wonder where his headspace was that he literally hired actors to commit to this situation. And honestly, he should have just, in like an odd universe, he could have been like, it was performance art. Like, there was a lot of realms that he could have gone, or like you said, use his platform for something that's really happening and to champion another cause. Like, I wonder like where he was in his headspace or what had happened that like really made him pull the trigger on this scenario. Like, that's very strange to hear. That's just sort of an odd situation. Yeah, that's a bummer though.
That's pretty deep. I didn't think of it that way.
You know what I mean? Like, it's kind of crazy to find actors, orchestrate the entire event, play it out, to then tell the police, like, where those actors must have been like, what the hell, like the whole time, you know?
No, that's a lot of commitment for this situation.
Yeah. What the hell? Well, yikes. Yikes on that one. So will he be returning to the Empire TV show?
Well, no, I think the show's been discontinued, but he was removed.
Okay.
You know, after the allegations came out, that he was removed. So now it's like, is he going to be able to work again? Would anybody want to hire him with that? But you know, we are in a land of forgiveness and second chances, so maybe he can turn around, hopefully.
Yeah, hopefully.
Before we leave, did you have any topic that you wanted to say?
Actually, I do. So today is my dad, Keith. It's his last day of chemotherapy. So
awesome.
He
right?
is officially, after today, will be in recession and fully healing. He completed his radiation. So just want to shout out my dad and say I love you and I'm proud of you. And thank you for being strong throughout this process. Your support team loves you. And congratulations.
I'm so glad you gave a shout out. That is so important.
And he watches every week too. So he's a big fan of the show.
Awesome. Did you have anything you wanted to say, Allie?
No, as far as right now, I don't have anything to say. I guess just keep a lookout in the news about the whole Roe v. Wade situation. I don't know as of today what's happening with it, but yeah, just keep a lookout. That's all I have to say.
All right. And I didn't do a formal introduction of Allie, but she is a guest co-host for today. She is a student for the paralegal program here in Indianapolis, and has recently applied for an internship with my office and has passed the test. And so she will be interning in spring of 2022. So
And shout out to our sponsor, Mark Nicholson at the Law Office of Mark Nicholson, fighting against the travesty of justice. And glad to see that he's growing his team a little bit with Allie. This will be awesome to see how this progresses.
awesome. Thank you. Bye-bye, everybody.
All right. Have a great week, y'all.
Bye.